Subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon to never miss an update.
When you become a digital person, it's really good because now you can go into any industry and every industry will become more digital.
You spent 8 years at Standard Chartered, fresh out of campus. What was that like? What were some of the things that you were exposed to for the first time, and what made you stay for this long?
My history was that I was all over the place, right? And I never thought I could commit to one career, one place for so long. So when I just look back at my 8.5 years at Standard Chartered Bank, it's an incredible thing for me. Like my family's opinion about me definitely changed in many ways, right? They thought, wow, this guy can genuinely stay committed. And to be honest, when people spend long innings at an organization, it really speaks about the culture of a place. So I think Standard Chartered really was this culture which wanted to have new joinees from good B schools spend long innings, and I think I got that opportunity. And for me, this entire journey about 8 years at Standard Chartered was about becoming a very holistic banker, and it was really about gaining ground as somebody who wants to learn a little bit on the risk side, compliance side, legal side, relationship management, products, and that entire holistic experience when it all merges together, right? I feel that I've really touched a little bit of almost everything in my life as a banker. And then also from geography's perspective, it was Bombay in the beginning. I grew up in Bombay, moved to London with Standard Chartered itself. So those 8 years were constantly feeding new things to me, and that novelty was something that was keeping me excited all along. So I have just some really fond memories of Standard Chartered.
What does it mean to become a banker? So one is the skill side, the knowledge side. You said you got to know how the international markets operate. You came to know how the commodity markets operated. So many different kinds of markets. But there is also an attitudinal side to being a banker.
It was really about speaking to clients day in and day out, really being the face of the bank, trying to speak to clients to understand their challenges. What's their strategic journey like? What are the challenges that they face in that strategic roadmap that they're trying to develop for themselves? And I think what happens is that when you start your career, you're very product oriented. You hear about different products in the bank and you think, wow, this could be like extremely unique for the client. But when you hear the client, they have heard the same stories over and over again from many different people, right? So the idea is how do you move from a product focus to a solutions focus? How can you develop a needs based conversation which really is looking forward to understand what's the client trying to achieve? And you put client at the center of everything, and then you put your solutions and the client experience around it. And that's really the journey as a banker. And it could be on the marketing side, it could be in the finance industry. It applies pretty much everywhere that you put the client at the center of everything. For us, the journey really was, especially from an international perspective, how do we give creative solutions to clients when they're expanding in their international journeys? Consider an Indian corporate which is trying to expand globally. How can we become a trust partner to them in helping them with the global expansion? So those were the things that became extremely exciting for me as a banker to learn. The good thing at Standard Chartered is that it puts you onto a program called the International Graduate Program. So you really spend time in different geographies. So you spend time in India, Singapore, Malaysia, China, different geographies, and there's a rotation program. So you spend time in sales, risk management, technology, credit, markets. And what also happens is that you get assigned mentors as well on the program. So you have mentors who can guide you. You get an international exposure. So think of any market, right? You think about Africa, Middle East, China, Southeast Asia. So you develop this network which really helps you tap into that international network when you are helping your clients in giving a solution. So think of a corporate which is based out of Navi Mumbai, for example, right? So we had a lot of industries which were trying to expand and export into different markets abroad. And the idea for us was how can we give them creative solutions, especially from an FX perspective? How can we give them transaction banking limits and help them with credit facilities so that that expands their international expansion? And you had this time wherein the younger generation, folks of our age, they would be coming into the business as well, and the businesses might have been set up by the elder generation who are now phasing out. For me as a banker, the interesting part was it really helps you become more responsive as an individual. So when you're constantly with clients, dealing with them, the pressure is just super immense, right? And the expectations of Indian clients is very different from the global clients otherwise. Indian clients
Right.
want it today. If not, maybe tomorrow, right? And the expectation is, can you deliver something to me over the next 2 or 3 hours? And even that wouldn't be a differentiator, right? So the challenge then is, how do you constantly upgrade your processes, your collaboration efforts within the banks with product teams, compliance team, legal teams, to put it all together in front of the client in a very meaningful way before your competition. And this collaboration effort really helps you grow as a banker, I would say. It also helps you in your personal life in many ways, right? You're able to juggle many different things together. And I think it was an incredibly rewarding journey.
Dilpreet, from commercial banking to corporate banking, from Bombay to London, what was that transition like? It must have been quite a drastic transition to move to a completely different continent. Uh, what were some of the personal and professional decisions you had to make at that time to make that transition?
Every person will make their career choices in line with what your personal ambition is in life as well, right? So for me, I'd come to a point in life wherein I'd been thinking, after my international exposure during my MBA, wherein I'd experienced New York City for about 5 months' time. And while I enjoyed that experience really, but my takeaway was that I think I'm happy building my career in India, really learn sales in India to begin with. And once I've got the grounding in my local market, the language is not a barrier. That's the time when I'll try and expand internationally. And for me, the interesting part was that my wife now, she's somebody I've known for 2 decades, and she has been in the environment sector in UK for the longest time. So that was a personal motivation as well, that can I take my career into London, and so that we can be together as well. And I think this is an opportunity that international banks present to you. Because of the international network, you will always have these global opportunities coming at you. And especially from a commercial banking perspective, I started getting so much of deal exposure on the corporate and investment banking side as well. So that really helped along the way. And plus the mentors that you had developed initially during your international graduate program as well, those mentors stay with you, right? So they also help you in your career journey. So I think all those things sort of came together and helped me in transition from Bombay to London. So that move was pretty exciting. And then also transitioning from commercial banking to the CIB corporate investment banking side as well. So it just seemed like a natural flow in terms of dealing with much bigger corporates along the way. So very exciting times.
How did you have to up your game once you got into the big league?
My expectations were that, well, now I'm going into a global context, the pressure would be immense. I'll have so much of international clients to deal with, and their expectations might be very different. While all of that is true, but my true message is that once you've gained a career in India, you've got that initial grounding, you become really hardened, right? You become this individual who can deal with immense amount of pressure. So you put an Indian from that context anywhere in the globe, I think they are bound to do well from there, because the expectation from the client side will only normalize. So things is, all the things that you were expected to deliver, let's say tomorrow, now you'll get a time of maybe a week or so to deliver the same things. Not to say that it's still the same thing. When you get a week, right, you put in more effort into making it better from an accuracy perspective. Think about more creative solutions. You think about what your competitor will do in about that 1 week's time. You put an entire strategy roadmap around it. So those are things which really become different when you go into an international context. You come in contact with clients who are really very international in nature. Their needs would also be very international. So you're talking about clients which have frontier market needs, developed market needs, and how does it all come together from a compliance perspective, legal perspective, from a compliance angle as well, right? The complexities and challenges that you're dealing in an international framework will be very different when you're just considering a domestic framework. Take care of sanctions, anti-money laundering, so on and so forth. So those complexities really add to the challenge as well. But the good thing is that you will always have this support system. One thing was that the managing directors, let's say in London, the culture for me was that you don't have this power divide, especially in London, right? Everybody's pretty much in a flat hierarchy. So the MD would really just invite you for a coffee right in the middle of the day and say, come, go, let's have lunch and let's talk about a deal, so on and so forth. So I think that was pretty exciting for me, that there is no power distance as you go more global in your career as well.
In banking, and for you, what is the kick?
In the very beginning years, right, I had some technology experience in the very beginning part of my career on the IG program. We were doing something called next generation banking, especially on the commercial and the retail side as well. It was going to impact technology in many ways, when you bring this new products and solutions, more digital in nature. And that was one of the stints I had in the very beginning. But that was also the time when one of my mentors told me that, Dilpreet, when you become a digital person, it's really good because now you can go into any industry and every industry will become more digital. But if you really want to call yourself a banker, then your learning will be on the letter of credit side, bank guarantees, banking products, right? And for me, the entire journey was in 5 or 6 years or 7 years time. Can I embed those basic things in my vocabulary? Can I learn more complexities? Can I be a subject matter expert on banking side? And after that, I can always position my career towards more technology and innovation, so on and so forth. I feel fabulous because, especially with my move to London, what really changed was that I came into contact with this really vibrant fintech ecosystem in London, especially. And on the personal front, I got acquainted with cryptocurrencies, so on and so forth as well. So this entire wave of blockchain technology, how smart contracts will change the face of global commerce going ahead. And I really started thinking about decentralized finance as well going ahead. And it became extremely clear to me that banking as an industry will definitely get disrupted in a big way. Like in the future, you can't really make out, is it a technology company or is it a bank? The lines will definitely get blurred along the way. I've been reading books such as Life 3.0 by Max Tegmark, and it's incredibly exciting to just see that our generation, all of us together, irrespective of our age, we are sitting at this cusp of human civilization wherein a human being and a machine will start existing together in some time from now, right? And how will banking evolve? How will payments evolve? How will global commerce evolve along the way? That journey is super exciting for me. And I think I'm well positioned, especially now in London. And I moved my careers from a banking side to more of innovation and technology along the way.
What was your next step after Standard Chartered?
So one of the first things I did was I took up a course at LSE, and LSE was offering this executive course, especially on blockchain technologies and cryptocurrencies. And I knew that I'll come in contact with really excellent people on the course as well. And the curriculum was pretty exciting. So for me, it was about the brand itself, and it was one of those pioneering courses, very beginning sort of courses, which will take care of people from different walks of life who aren't expected to have a prerequisite knowledge about it. It really teaches you from the basics. And a very interesting thing happened to me literally over LinkedIn. During one of the interactions, somebody from Conduent said that they're looking out for somebody who has banking domain expertise. And Conduent is a spin-off of the Xerox group. So they were looking out for somebody to help them as a product manager and expand the products and services, especially from a payments perspective, wholesale payments, B2B payments, but using the power of blockchain. They were building on Hyperledger Fabric, which is an enterprise-grade blockchain. And they were targeting solutions around contract management, order to cash, procure to pay, vendor data management, cross-border payments, working capital. So the thing for me was that I'd been learning things on the banking side, but now things which come before banking, those were the things I was getting exposure to. And as a product manager, you learn about agile development, backlog grooming, sprint planning, things I'd never learned as a relationship manager. So I was constantly looking out for these new things, and that hunger for new things just happened to take me to a place which will just act as the connecting bridge between the traditional finance world and the new finance world.
All right, Dilpreet, that was a great conversation. I think we got a lot of really interesting insights, not just about the financial world, but also about where we are going as a civilization. Really appreciate you doing this with us. Thank you so much, Dilpreet.
Kunj, thank you so much for inviting me.
Hi guys, Inside IIM has come up with an exciting new one-on-one mentorship product where you get to interact with superstar managers from different businesses, different functions. You can ask them everything around your career, your education, your future success. If you are interested, the link is in the description below. Thanks.